Before anything else, I want to make it very clear that, yep, this speed paint in the back is mostly traced art, and I do understand the implications of an artist tracing over photos to draw. That's not precisely what you would call professional demeanor, and some people might definitely call it a theft. Truth is that I got very disappointed at the other drawings I did of these three characters, and I really wanted a beautiful looking piece, but felt like I don't have enough skill to pull it off exactly the way I was thinking just yet. It doesn't mean that I won't be this skilled guy one day, but I wanted to have these pieces the way I imagine today, not months from now. And I'm also stating very clearly that this is mostly traced because I don't want to deceive anybody. I took my mask off for this one, if you know what I mean. And the reason I'm drawing three Tylers over and over again is because Chromakopia brought back to me a deep passion I have for Tyler and his characters, or alter egos, call it whatever you want. I mean, my mousepad is IGOR's cover artwork. Telling y'all that I'm a fan is a hella of an understatement. And if you don't know Tyler's latest three albums, if you haven't listened to them just yet, this is probably the perfect time to do it, because I feel like this quote-unquote trilogy makes the perfect journey, and let me explain why, while I tell you my personal story with each of these characters and albums. So I won't explain in depth the subtle details and whole story of each album. Other channels have done it way better than I ever could, and Tyler has other great albums too, and nice storytelling is spread all over his work. But it feels like, not just for me, but for a bunch of other people too, that IGOR started kind of a long-ass journey that goes from pain to recovery and talent up to personal growth and self-knowledge, and it feels like a very compelling story, really. IGOR's main character, called, well, IGOR, is a very dangerous man. He's hectic, an excessive, over-the-top man who's deeply, deeply in love with the guy who puts him in this weird love triangle situation, and his journey from falling in love with this guy up to the deepest and darkest bits of his own mind feel like an eternal cycle, to the point that the album really feels and sounds like a loop. If you listen to it carefully, it will sound like a loop. And when IGOR got released, I was getting in one of these loops as well, and little did I know how long I would stay in it. And just like IGOR, I felt like I was trapped in an eternal cycle of back and forth with a special one who I deeply loved, but who put me in this very delicate and painful lifestyle. Tyler's IGOR is a masterpiece on how not to be a lover. It's a love story that feels very raw. It's not idealized, it's real. Although some of the lines are very idealistic and feel like the whole traditional falling in love cliche, they come from the mouth of a man who's deeply lovesick. The same man who later on in the album thinks about killing his special one's girlfriend with a gun, aka his new magic wand, and who later on thinks he's free from these illusions and that now he's got his eyes wide open. IGOR is pretty much a story about love and how it can break you, how you can be trapped in it, and how it might kill you from the inside out. How you can get trapped, and pretty much how painful and unbelievably unfair it can be. It's all about pain. By the way, that's why I've chosen this kanji, the one that signifies pain, for IGOR. In Sir Baudelaire though, his whole persona is very different. If IGOR was almost a psycho deeply in love and who had a very aggressive demeanor, Sir Baudelaire feels like a very fancy and self-confident man. These two are exaggerations of Shelley himself, as far as I know, and I can say for sure that in Call Me If You Get Lost, Sir Baudelaire's album, he's showing off and bragging about his own lifestyle in ways he never did before and probably never will do again. To me, this is a kind of a mask, but Baudelaire doesn't seem to be totally aware of it. You see, there's some kind of clarity you get in your own life after something heartbreaking has happened, after a very difficult breakup, or after struggling with grief. You come out as a new person, pretty much. And this new person who came out of the IGOR loop seems to think he's fine. Most of the album is way more carefree, and although some pain is spread here and there, he seems to be mostly fine. There's this one 8.5-minute song though, Wilshire, that shows how much he's still affected by love stuff and how much this still resonates with him. Sir Baudelaire still feels, and his display of richness It's just that really a display. He's still fighting against some demons, but he's hella talented, and he knows that. That's why I've chosen the kanji for talent. He embraces that. Sir Baudelaire knows how to be a great showman. He knows he's talented and rich as fuck, and he doesn't care. But then comes Saint Chroma. Now, I've heard people say that this alter ego is based on Chroma the Great from the Phantom Tollbooth, that's how you spell it, I think. Truth is, the album is too recent, so it feels risky to say for sure. There's even a persona there. This one seems to be way more intertwined with Tyler himself, really. And at the end of the day, Chromakopia is so intimate that I can't help myself but think that this masked psycho man that we've seen throughout their rollout kinda shares this album with a realer, deeper, more intimate Tyler, who's talking directly to us. The quick transitions from songs that talk about extremely personal things, like an unintended pregnancy from his lover and the absence of his father and his mom taking responsibility for it, to songs like Sticky and Thought I Was Dead, that seems more broad. You know, this quick transition makes me think of a Tyler who takes his mask off to talk to us, eye to eye, then covers himself again, becoming Saint Chroma in the process. I say all that metaphorically, of course. This is not a cinematic universe, although sometimes it kind of feels like it. But nonetheless, this album is about growth, about self, about a Tyler who's taking things in the realest way he can. He knows there's more ways to grow, but now he's embracing this process. No hard feelings and apocalyptical thoughts like in IGOR, not showing off and hiding, no showing off and hiding feelings like in Call Me If You Get Lost, just the realest he can get. The realest he can get in the moment, at least. As I was drawing the first two pieces, I was not getting satisfied with the results. Again, I feel like I'm not talented enough as of now to pull off without tracing exactly what I envisioned. I've struggled so much in the past with not feeling like things were right, and that I was trapped in loops all over my life. I've experienced 4 long years of a love loop who hurt me in ways I'm not prepared to explain and share yet. I've struggled with my art career throughout my whole life, and I still do, honestly. I felt like a madman, like IGOR did. I too have felt like the funny man of the class, the guy who feels excessively confident, who's never afraid, or who at least thinks he's not. I've been the carefree personality of Call Me If You Get Lost. In the same way Sir Baudelaire seemed to be his own boss, I felt like that too. But just as I was listening to Chromakopia, I realized that I was getting on that self-knowledge part of my own journey. I realized that I'm not at all the guy I thought I was, and that this does not make me bad or ugly. I am who I am, and I'm willing to learn and grow. That's why I'm not afraid to show you drawings I'm not happy with, and that's why I'm not afraid to show you me tracing photos, although this is not something I do often. That's as real as I can get. Consider this me taking my mask off for once. If you've not listened to Chromakopia yet, I encourage you to take an hour free of your day, whenever you can, to listen to it. It's a beautiful piece, and you won't regret the journey. You just have to let yourself experience it, really. Anyway, thank you for listening to me talking about Random Shit I Love. I appreciate you, my friend. And I'll see you next time. Peace.